An empire so vast it stretched from Britain to Egypt, from Spain to Syria. An empire that gave us roads, aqueducts, and laws we still use today. An empire that seemed unstoppable, unbreakable, eternal. But here's the shocking truth. The Roman Empire wasn't invincible. It wasn't even close. What if I told you that the same forces tearing it apart 1,500 years ago are the exact same ones threatening our world today? Political corruption, economic inequality, military overstretch, and environmental pressures. The Romans thought they had it all figured out, just like we do. They were wrong, and we might be too. Ready to understand the world around you better? Join me as we dissect the Roman Empire's rise and fall, uncovering crucial lessons about leadership, society, and the fragile nature of empires. This isn't just history, it's a blueprint for survival in our modern world. If you're ready to dive deep into one of history's most fascinating stories and discover what it means for our future, hit that like button now and let's begin this incredible journey together. Rome began as nothing more than a collection of mud huts on 7 hills beside the Tiber River around 753 BCE. Yet from these modest beginnings would emerge the greatest empire the world had ever seen. The transformation began with the Roman Republic, established in 509 BCE. This wasn't just a political change, it was a revolution in thinking. The Romans created a system with checks and balances, consuls who shared power, and a senate that advised on major decisions. The founding fathers of America studied Roman governance extensively. Rome's genius lay in understanding that expansion wasn't just about conquest, it was about integration. When Rome defeated an enemy, they didn't just plunder and leave. They offered citizenship, built infrastructure, and created economic opportunities. The conquered peoples often found themselves better off under Roman rule. The Roman military machine was unstoppable because it was adaptable. Roman legions weren't just soldiers, they were engineers, builders, and administrators. They constructed roads as they marched, built fortifications that lasted centuries, and developed tactics that revolutionized warfare. By 264 BCE, Rome controlled the entire Italian peninsula. The Punic Wars against Carthage, 264 to 146 BCE, established Rome as the dominant Mediterranean power. When Hannibal crossed the Alps with elephants and devastated Roman armies, most civilizations would have surrendered. Rome rebuilt, adapted, and ultimately destroyed Carthage so completely that they salted the earth where it stood. The conquest of Greece brought something even more valuable than territory: culture and knowledge. The Romans absorbed Greek philosophy, art, and science, creating a fusion that would define Western civilization. Enter Julius Caesar, whose conquest of Gaul, 58 to 50 BCE, brought immense wealth and military glory to Rome. Caesar understood that the Republic system couldn't manage an empire this vast. When he crossed the Rubicon River in 49 BCE, declaring, "The die is cast," he acknowledged that the old system was dead. Caesar's assassination in 44 BCE didn't restore the Republic, it led to more civil wars. From this chaos emerged Augustus, Caesar's adopted son and Rome's first emperor. Augustus was a political genius who maintained the appearance of republican institutions while holding absolute power. Under Augustus, Rome entered the Pax Romana, 2 centuries of relative peace and prosperity. The empire expanded to its greatest extent under Emperor Trajan, stretching from northern England to Iraq. This wasn't just military conquest, it was the creation of a unified economic and cultural zone larger than the modern European Union. The Roman road network became the ancient world's internet, Roads connected every corner of the empire, facilitating trade, communication, and military movement. Roman engineers built 250,000 miles of roads, many still existing today. Roman law provided the foundation for justice across this vast territory. The 12 Tables establish principles like innocent until proven guilty and the right to legal representation. These concepts were revolutionary in the ancient world and form the basis of legal systems in dozens of countries today. The empire's economic system was sophisticated beyond anything seen before. Roman currency was accepted from Britain to Egypt. Banking systems allowed merchants to transfer money across the empire without carrying gold. Rome itself had over 1 million inhabitants at its peak, larger than London would be until the 19th century. The 2nd century CE marked Rome's golden age under the 5 good emperors. This period saw the empire reach its territorial peak and cultural flowering. Roman engineering achieved feats that wouldn't be matched for over 1,000 years. The Pantheon's concrete dome remains the world's largest unreinforced concrete dome today. Roman concrete was actually superior to modern concrete. It got stronger over time, especially when exposed to seawater. Roman aqueducts supplied fresh water to cities with precision that modern engineers admire. The Pont du Gard in France drops just 2.5 centimeters per kilometer over its 50-kilometer length. Rome itself received over 1.3 billion liters of water daily, more per capita than many modern cities. The Colosseum could seat 50,000 spectators and featured elevators, trapdoors, and a retractable roof system. The building could be evacuated in just 15 minutes through its sophisticated exit system, a feat modern stadiums struggled to match. Roman roads represented the pinnacle of pre-modern engineering. Built in layers with drainage systems and cambered surfaces, these roads lasted for centuries. The Via Appia, begun in 312 BCE, is still partially in use today. The Roman legal system codified principles that form the backbone of Western law. The concept of natural law, that certain rights are inherent to all humans, originated with Roman jurists. The presumption of innocence, the right to legal counsel, and the principle that laws should be written and publicly known all came from Roman legal tradition. Roman literature and philosophy reached unprecedented heights. Virgil's Aeneid created a national epic that rivaled Homer's works. Marcus Aurelius, emperor and philosopher, wrote his meditations while campaigning, emphasizing duty, rationality, and acceptance of fate, principles that remain relevant today. Roman architecture created a distinctive style that influenced building for millennia. The Roman arch, dome, and vault allowed for larger interior spaces than ever before. Roman urban planning featured grid street patterns, public squares, sewage systems, and zoning that separated residential, commercial, and industrial areas. The Roman economy was the first truly global economy. Roman merchants traded with China via the Silk Road, with India for spices, and with Northern Europe for amber. Roman coins have been found in Ireland, Scandinavia, and southern India. Roman religious tolerance created remarkable diversity. While maintaining traditional Roman gods, the empire absorbed deities from across the known world. This religious pluralism was unprecedented in the ancient world. Yet even at this peak, cracks were beginning to show. The empire's very success created new problems. Wealth flowing into Rome created massive inequality. Traditional Roman virtues gave way to luxury and self-interest among the elite. The military increasingly relied on foreign mercenaries with no loyalty to Roman values. The death of Marcus Aurelius in 180 CE marked the end of the Pax Romana. His son Commodus embodied everything wrong with hereditary monarchy, neglecting governance for personal pleasure. His assassination in 192 CE triggered the first of many succession crises. The crisis of the 3rd century, 235 to 284 CE, saw 50 emperors in 50 years, most dying violent deaths. The Roman army became the empire's greatest weakness. Legions fought each other as much as external enemies, devastating the territories they were supposed to protect. Military expenses consumed 75% of government spending by the 3rd century compared to 25% during the early empire. The army became a parasitic class, living off the labor of farmers and artisans. The Roman economy showed severe strain. Civil wars disrupted trade networks. Agricultural production declined as farmers fled or were conscripted. The tax base shrank as military expenses skyrocketed. Currency debasement became systematic. Roman coins fell from 98% silver to less than 5% silver by the 3rd century. Prices rose by 1,000% between 200 and 300 CE. The empire tried to solve financial problems by printing money, a strategy that has never worked. Diocletian's price edict of 301 CE attempted to control inflation by setting maximum prices, with death as the penalty for violations. This early experiment in price controls failed spectacularly, creating black markets and driving legitimate commerce underground. Taxation became increasingly oppressive. The empire introduced taxes on everything from inheritance to livestock. The tax burden became so crushing that many Romans preferred barbarian rule to Roman taxation. Infrastructure crumbled. Roads fell into disrepair, aqueducts leaked, and public buildings deteriorated. Rome itself shrank from over 1 million inhabitants to fewer than 100,000 by 500 CE. The rise of Christianity, while providing spiritual comfort, also undermined traditional Roman values. Christian emphasis on the afterlife made earthly service seem less important. Christian pacifism conflicted with Roman military traditions. Constantine's conversion to Christianity in 312 CE fundamentally altered the empire's character. The Edict of Milan granted religious freedom, but marked the beginning of the end for traditional Roman religion and culture. The division of the empire into Western and Eastern halves in 285 CE created new problems. The two halves often fought each other for resources. The Eastern Empire gradually abandoned Latin for Greek and Roman law for Christian canon law. Barbarian pressure increased dramatically. The Gothic Wars brought hundreds of thousands of refugees into Roman territory. The Huns, migrating westward, pushed Germanic tribes across Roman frontiers. These weren't just invasions, they were massive population movements that Roman society couldn't absorb. Roman military effectiveness declined as it relied on barbarian mercenaries. These soldiers fought for pay rather than patriotism, often switching sides based on better terms. Climate change made Rome's problems worse. The Roman climate optimum ended, bringing colder temperatures and reduced agricultural productivity. Crop failures became frequent, and climate pressures pushed barbarian tribes to seek new lands. The sack of Rome by Alaric in 410 CE shocked the Roman world. The Eternal City had been conquered for the first time in 800 years. The deposition of the last Western Roman emperor in 476 CE by Odoacer marked the formal end, though the empire had been hollowed out from within long before. The fall of Rome provides lessons for how great powers collapse. The patterns that destroyed Rome appear throughout history in the Soviet Union, British Empire, and countless others. Political polarization played a crucial role. The late Republic was torn apart by competing factions who valued party loyalty over national interest. The Senate became a battlefield where compromise was weakness and opponents were enemies rather than fellow citizens. Economic inequality reached extreme levels. A few hundred families controlled most wealth while millions lived in poverty. This concentration undermined the middle class that had been the republic's backbone. When citizens have no stake in the system, they won't defend it. Institutional corruption followed predictable patterns. Military commands were sold to the highest bidder. Governorships became opportunities for personal enrichment. The legal system favored the wealthy. When institutions serve private interests rather than public good, they lose legitimacy. Military overstretch created commitments exceeding society's capacity. The Roman military, designed for conquest, proved unsuitable for permanent occupation. Military expenses crowded out investments in infrastructure, education, and economic development. Currency debasement parallels modern monetary policy challenges. Roman emperors reduced silver content to fund spending, creating inflation that devastated the middle class. Modern governments face similar temptations to solve fiscal problems through monetary expansion. Climate change contributed to Rome's fall in ways that resonate today. Cooling temperatures reduced agricultural productivity, creating food shortages. Climate-induced migration overwhelmed border controls. Environmental challenges interacted with political and economic problems to create cascading failures. The Roman legal system's legacy demonstrates how institutional innovations outlive their creators. Roman law concepts remain fundamental to modern legal systems. The Napoleonic Code, influencing legal systems worldwide, was largely based on Roman law. Roman architectural innovations continue influencing construction. The arch, dome, and vault appear in buildings worldwide. Roman concrete's durability inspires modern research. Roman urban planning principles guide modern city design. Latin's influence extends far beyond direct descendants. English contains thousands of Latin words. Legal, medical, and scientific terminology relies heavily on Latin. The Roman alphabet is used by more people than any other writing system. Roman religious tolerance provides a model for pluralistic societies. Rome succeeded by incorporating rather than suppressing foreign religions. This tolerance only broke down when religions claimed exclusive truth. The Roman concept of citizenship evolved from exclusive privilege to universal right. The Edict of Caracalla in 212 CE granted citizenship to all free inhabitants, creating the first cosmopolitan society. This influenced later developments in human rights. Roman administrative systems managed diversity on unprecedented scale. Provincial administration balanced central control with local autonomy. Citizenship laws created pathways for integration. Commercial law facilitated trade across vast distances. The Roman example shows how empires can persist in transformed ways. The Byzantine Empire survived another 1,000 years. The Holy Roman Empire claimed Roman succession for centuries. Even today, nations invoke Roman symbols. The U.S. Senate, Capitol, and Republican institutions all reference Roman precedents. Rome's story isn't just ancient history, it's a guide for our modern world. The challenges that destroyed Rome are the same ones facing societies today. Political polarization threatens democratic societies just as it destroyed the Roman Republic. When parties become more important than national interests, when opponents are enemies rather than fellow citizens, autocracy flourishes. Modern democracies must strengthen institutions, protect voting rights, maintain independent judiciary systems, and foster civic education. Economic inequality contributed to Rome's collapse by undermining social cohesion. When wealth concentrates among a few while the majority struggle, the social contract breaks down. Modern societies can address this through progressive taxation, social safety nets, education investment, and policies promoting economic mobility. Institutional corruption corrodes public trust. Modern societies must combat this through transparency, accountability, and strong rule of law. This means protecting whistleblowers, ensuring government transparency, maintaining independent oversight, and holding officials accountable. Military overstretch weakened Rome by creating unsustainable commitments. Modern powers must carefully consider long-term costs of military commitments, balancing military strength with diplomatic, economic, and soft power tools. Environmental challenges require international cooperation. Rome's problems arose when environmental pressures combined with political dysfunction. Modern climate change poses similar risks, but can be manageable if addressed proactively through technological innovation and international cooperation. The Roman model of cultural synthesis offers hope for diverse societies. Rome succeeded by absorbing the best elements from different cultures. Modern multicultural societies can create shared civic values while respecting cultural differences. Education and civic engagement are crucial. Roman decline coincided with breakdown of civic education and public engagement. Modern societies must teach history, civics, and critical thinking while creating opportunities for democratic participation. International cooperation becomes increasingly important as global challenges grow complex. Modern challenges require coordination on unprecedented scales while respecting national sovereignty. Rome's example teaches us that no society is permanent, but collapse isn't inevitable. Rome lasted over 1,000 years. Even Rome's collapse contributed to progress by demonstrating what doesn't work and inspiring better alternatives. The goal isn't preventing all change, but creating societies that can adapt while maintaining core values. This requires humility about limitations, wisdom about challenges, and determination to do better than predecessors. We stand at a crossroads similar to Rome's. We can learn from Rome's mistakes and build better societies, or repeat Rome's errors and face similar consequences. The choice is ours, but only if we act with wisdom that history provides and courage that the future demands. This journey through Rome's epic story reveals timeless truths about power, society, and human nature. If this deep dive into history's greatest empire has opened your eyes to the patterns that shape our world, show your support by hitting that like button. These insights become even more powerful when shared. So share this video with someone who needs to understand how the past shapes our present and future. And if you're ready to explore more connections between ancient wisdom and modern challenges, subscribe and ring that notification bell. There's so much more to discover about how history can guide us through the complexities of our time. The past isn't just prologue, it's our guide to building a better future.